Alright, in this video I'm going to show you a few of the web developer features built into Firefox. Some of my favorite tools that I use on a daily basis. So this is version of Firefox is version 20.0.1, so it's the latest release. So some of these features may not be active unless you're on the latest version. So you may want to first download or upload or update your Firefox installation. So I'm going to show you some web developing and HTML tools built into Firefox. So this here is my website, and often when I'm looking at how to change something or design something, I need to know the HTML behind it. And so let's say this this button here. Let's say I want to figure out how to change this, or what this is attached to. So I can right click on it and go down and click Inspect Element. Now what this will do is this will give me a preview of the HTML code down here. So I can see it's a hyperlink with the class blue button, the hyperlink address, and that's it. So in the HTML, this is actually not a button, but rather a hyperlink with CSS applied to it. So over here under rules, we can see all the CSS that goes into making this button, starting at the top, and then it shows any inherited rules further down. Now in the inherited rules, you'll see a line through. The line through means that a rule has already been applied. So if you see a line through it, there's no point of finding that to make changes because it's being overwritten by something further up. So on this button, we see here in the styles.css file, there is a place where it says inside the call to action div element, which is this div element, there is a hyperlink for button. And here's two elements. So if I wanted to change this, but I could go into the the CSS file on my website and make that change. But since I maybe just want to preview what these changes would look like, I can do it right in the Firefox browser. I can change that to, let's say, 35, and I can change this to 55. Now you see that the button has become much larger, and I could also go in and change my font to make my font bigger. So there's one neat way that you can actually change the site. It's not actually changing it on the web site itself. So don't think you're changing the actual structure of the page. This is just previewing it in your Firefox browser. So again, you can do this with any element. You can go and inspect them and change the so I can change this from being aligned center. Now my text is aligned left. Okay, so the HTML breadcrumb is shown here. So let's go back and inspect element on this button. So if I want to see what is holding this button, I can quickly see the HTML breadcrumb trail. So I can see, okay, this div element holds that button, but what holds this div element? Well, this one, and then this one. And you can see the underlines on the page continue to highlight the areas that you're looking at. So there you have that. The responsive design mode. Now this is actually pretty cool for mobile testing. A lot of times if you're on your site and you want to test it on mobile, you got to pull out your phone, or you have to have an app or something like that, or you grab your browser and you try to resize the window. But instead, Firefox has a responsive design mode built right in down here. So if we click on this, it allows us to change the resolution of our screen. So if we wanted to test this on a mobile site, we could click this 360 by 640, and we get a pretty quick preview of the site. So here we can see the changes we made to the button would not be good for a mobile browser. What we could do is make it into like a percentage or something like that, but that's another tutorial. So we can see the website looks fairly well, and the ad is definitely causing an issue. So maybe there's some work that we can do there, but overall the site looks pretty decent. So to exit that mode, we just click that again. One last mode I wanted to show you was the 3D view, and this is really cool. Not only does it give a completely different way to look at a website, but it can really help you find those elements that maybe aren't apparent from the top. So I'm going to go down here, click 3D view, and then you can see the entire page in a 3D format. And what this lets us do is, with our mouse, we can click and drag the website around, and with the arrow keys we can move left to right and up to down. It's actually inverted, so it's a little confusing at first. You basically just visualize the arrows are moving the page, not your view, and then it starts to make a little more sense. So what I want to show here is, let's say we were trying to find the table that was holding this button, or the div element that was holding this button. Well, we could do what we did before, inspect the element, and just click away until we found the one we were looking for. But the 3D view will also allow us to look at it sideways. And so if we look at it from this angle, we can say, well, here's one that holds all this content, and then there's two more below it. Well, if we look at it from this side, we can see there's clearly only one that is just holding that content, and that's it right there. So we can click on it, highlights it on our screen, and down here highlights it for us. So we can see that it's being held by the div element grid.col.-640. And over here in the HTML, or the CSS, sorry, we can see the attributes for that. So if we were saying, oh, I don't want this to be half of the page, I want it to be the entire page now, we could do that. Change it to 100%. It will not change it in the 3D view. So to preview that change, we have to go back. So now we can see we found the element holding that. It's now 100%, and then the rest of the site builds out below it. So a couple helpful tools that I find extremely helpful when building a website or changing content on a website, to really save you from just staring at lines of code all day.